Okay, let's get this next Brewing Labs in motion. I was kind of hoping to make a Meld Tribal deck. Hang on. Something is off. What the? Hello?
Welcome to the grace of the Phyrexian orthodoxy. Mother of machines, Elesh Norn speaking.
Okay, why you call me?
An opportunity to show our might. You brew decks, correct?
Well, I don't exactly make chicken soup.
The Brewing Labs is now part of the Great Machine for an indefinite period of time. You are going to show the glory of Phyrexia with your decks featuring our kind.
And if I refuse this opportunity?
Oh, sweet child. You will find it difficult to do that. Take a look outside. Are we clear?
Okay, I guess we're going to make some Phyrexian deck techs. Yay! Well, welcome to this episode of the Phyrexian Brewing Labs.
Excellent. All will be one.
And welcome everybody to the Brewing Labs. For this week's deck tech, we're actually going to be doing a little bit of fun shenanigans, and we're actually going to be playing a Phyrexian themed deck. You kind of noticed that with the intro gag, I'm not going to lie with that. Still, nevertheless, we're actually playing. Our basic gimmick is, at least pretty much until new Phyrexia comes out in February, we're actually going to be doing a bunch of Phyrexian themed decks, both in standard, historic, and all the other formats. I thought it would be kind of like a fun gimmick to do that. So nevertheless, the basic premise is they're going to be heavily Phyrexian themed, all of the future deck techs until the Phyrexia all will be one. Which will probably then will be a couple more Phyrexian deck techs, but I just thought it would be a fun little gimmick. Still, for this one, we're playing a Grixis variation of the list. So pretty much what we have here is we're testing stuff like Dreams of Steel of Oil, which is a very good kind of like a hand control spell that can also be Graveyard Disruption. A 1 card to deal with 2 cards is pretty nice. We also have Evangel Synthesis, a great card that came from the Brothers' War. Just being able to loot when you have it, essentially. Just drawing a card and then discarding a card. Very nice. And then whenever you draw 2 or more cards this turn, this just gets +1 in menace. Very nice. It could be a pretty aggressive threat. We're also running some early game control with stuff like Infernal Grasp as well as Go for the Throat. We're also running a few Make Disappear. You could probably debate of cutting like 1 Infernal Grasp or 1 Go for the Throat and play another Make Disappear. The meta kinda is very prevalent around this card, not gonna lie. But for this list, we're just doing free removal and then 2 counter. For the free drop slot, since we're doing Phyrexian theme, we obviously gotta play Gitz Yakmot's Praetor. Just a very good card in general, being able to, whenever we deal combat damage to an opponent, they're forced to pay 1, or we're gonna... Wow, that was a brain fart. We're gonna pay 1 life, and if we do, we're gonna draw a card, and then of course, there's that 7 mana effect that we can discard X cards, and then essentially X out of the top X cards of a target opponent's library and play cards from their library, which is very nice. We also got Phyrexian Dragon Engine in here, which is also part of Mishra claimed by Gitz, which then forms into Mishra Rasta Phyrexia. Makes perfect sense if we're doing Grixis to have this Rakdos component in here. Flavorful for the Brothers' War, as well as if we can flip it, it's just rather game-ending, as a lot of people have been discovering. Very powerful card, personally, in this standard. We're also running 2 Fable the Mirror Breaker. This is technically the not Phyrexian, one of the not Phyrexian, but still just a good card for standard and such, so we're playing it. Theme cards that are in the deck, mostly because it's very synergistic with our deck, like making multiple copies of Evangel Synthesis, Dragon Engine, even using it to copy a Gitzian Puppeteer to return one of our free drops back to essentially the battlefield is pretty good. Speaking of which, Gitatsian Puppeteer. Another good card in general. Just being able to, when we draw our second card each turn, make our opponent drain our opponent to life. As well as when it dies, we can return another target creature card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. We can use that to return anything from an Evangel Symphysis to a Gitz Yawgmoth's Praetor, Phyrexian Dragon Agent. I'm almost debating about playing this card even in kind of like Grixis Vampires in general, because just that effect is really good to return one of our free drop vampires. Then, of course, we're running Children, the Apocalypse. It's a Phyrexian. It's also a very strong 4-drop in Standard. Just makes perfect sense. We'll also talk about Gitz, or not Gitz, Mishra claimed by Gitz. Just a good free 5 that essentially, when we go on the aggressive, allow us to get the life drain. And of course, if we flip, it's a game-winning effect, getting Mishra Rasta Fletzia's ETB trigger, as well as potentially the attack trigger if we can attack with it. We're also running the Cruelty of Gitz, just a very good, versatile saga, being able to essentially either do hand disruption, tutoring, as well as just putting a target creature card from a graveyard to the battlefield under our control, which could be our own creatures, or it could be our opponent's creatures, so we can use this as a reanimate spell, which we do have some late game creatures to do that. We could reanimate any of our early game creatures, but we could also reanimate something like a Jin Catatius. Honestly, this could be an easily cut and throw in like another Fable the Mirror Breaker, but I kind of want to put this in because it's quite thematic. Plus, also, it's actually kind of surprisingly synergistic with some cards in this list. Like, for example, getting 2 copies of Phyrexian Dragon Engine is pretty good, as well as potentially getting 2 copies of Phyrexian Flesh Scourger. Another very powerful card that came from the Bronze Ward. Just either a free mana, free menace lifelink, and ward pay life equal to this creature's power, or it could just be a 7 mana 7/5. Good early game threat, as well as a good late game threat. The last non-Phyrexian themed card in the list, I mean, it's still technically an artifact, so you could say in a roundabout way it could also have some Phyrexian theme to it, depending on who you ask, is the Blade Coil Serpent. Just a very good card in general, just essentially being able to have all those effects if we spend mana into it. You're going to see some games on this deck tech video where the Blade Coil Serpent helped us to essentially either Mind Rot our opponent, or just helps us to draw cards in general. And if we want to, we can make it also a hasty trample threat to help finish off some games. Our land base is your typical Grixis. We have 1 of each basic. We have 4 Shipwreck Marsh, 3 Underground Rivers, 3 Shivan Reef, 4 Haunted Ridge, 4 Sulphurous Springs, and 4 Xander's Lounge. And that is the deck tech, and I hope you all enjoy the games that are coming up. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, we're going against Gardevoir. Let's see what shenanigans you have up your sleeve. Pretty decent hand, though we are going to hurt ourselves a little bit, so... Oh, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Bada-beep, bada-boop. Okay, let's see. Looks like our opponent's going into mono black shenanigans. Well, let's do some Evangel of the Symphysian. Discard the Phyrexian Dragon Engine.
It's Wormin time.
We're going to Phyrexian Flesh Scourger. Well, let's see if our opponent blocks here. Obviously, we're going to prioritize the Great Faster. And here, we're going to play another Evangel, and hold up and we make disappear. There we go. Another Phyrexian Dragon Engine in the graveyard. Yeah. goes for the card draw. Or not. I mean... Our opponent has free Field of Ruins, so it'll be kind of interesting to see what they feel like destroying here. Well, we'll go get the swamp. And I think here... And also... boop. Just so that we can deal a pretty good amount of damage. There we go. Okay, they play a Bank Buster. Are they going to draw with the Bank Buster? Did they draw removal? No, Dreams of Steel Oil, which actually was a pretty good counter because they can both exile this and this. Good card. Okay, so in that case... Okay. Are they going to double it? Wow, they're going to double it. Okay. Do you mind? Not really. This time, I'm actually going to Inferno Grass my own creature here. Because we don't want it exiled. Because we don't... Okay, we play Fable. The Frex Gorger? Wait. Don't you want to do the Phyrexian Dragon Engine? We're not going to block. They're going to draw a card. And we'll see what we're going to draw into. Pretty good removal on both ends. So yeah, we're going to decline. I think our play here is the Fawn. This. Play this. Play that land. That is a pretty good draw. Okay. So our opponent's gonna draw, gain some life. I'm going to guess they're gonna crew with the Bank Buster. They're not crewing with the Bank Buster? Oh, they're probably thinking about it as a cheeky blocker. Well, first things first. That's gonna go to the bottom of the library opponent.
Bounce, Barona.
Because they're gonna crew to make sure that it's not profitable for us to attack. I mean, makes sense. But honestly, our plan here is more of the Shieldred variety. And we're not going to attack because we would rather attack with a token copy. Do they draw the removal they need? And that completes the game because they draw the card. Bada-beep. And thanks to Shieldred, game 1. Glory to the Phyrexia win condition. Bada-beep, bada-boo. Let's see. We're going against the All-Rounders. Okay. Pretty decent hand. Let's keep. Pass turn to our opponent. Pass the turn to our opponent. Yeah, that board wipe is a no-no for our deck. And now we can do this. Yeah, we're gonna take out that and the current Silets at the same time. We'll play a Phyrexian Dragon Engine. So they have Elspeth, they have Kindly Ancestor, they do have the Soul Transfer if they get the second black source of mana. Which, not yet, but they're close. Here, I think we're gonna actually play the Gitaxian Puppet. Force our opponent to block here if they want to. So do they Elspeth or do they Exile? That is the question. They're thinking here. Yep. I'm gonna draw some cards. This deck, okay. Well. Gonna lose a life. We're gonna brew around this Phyrexian in a future Brewing Labs, but for now. Okay, we gotta be careful with this one, so. We wanna do it like this. Nope, not that. What? Blue. Blue. And 0. We'll draw a card and make our opponent discard the Elspeth and that Gandra. we even have the Dreams of Steel in foil. Not bad. Not bad at all. Excuse me, what? Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I did not see Bloodline Purveyor in my future. That's gonna be a problem. Let's... But, on the other hand... Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Did not happen. Okay. Woo. Okay, we don't need to land, so we're going to discard the land. Well, this is an awkward hand. We don't really want to play the Evangel Synthesis now. We would rather have another card in our hand for that. Oh. Okay. I'm a lot of zombies. Okay, we're gonna do this first to see if we get a better draw. We did not. There we go. We're going to remove that. I mean... Fair enough. Oh. Okay. That's still a lot of zombies. That's I think I know what I'm tutoring for. Decline. And let's see if the Mishra. Going to pass turn. Okay. Well, let's see if we do this. Let's... Ah! Wow. I did not expect to see a fire command. Oh, wait, what? Okay. Deal 3 damage. Okay, I guess we did. Create 2 tap Power Stone tokens. No, not that. Creature don't control do that, and we get minutes. Okay. And we're going to deal 3 damage to that. And win the game. Yes! Glory to new Phyrexia with Mishra. Well, actually, technically with Mishra, he was actually more a part of old Phyrexia, but you know what I mean. Glory to Phyrexia, yada yada yada, yada yada yada. Okay, let's see who we're going against. Felix, 9. Okay, let's see what shenanigans you have. That's a pretty decent keep. I'm gonna play Xander's Lounge. Oh boy, it's Selesneya Enchantments. Well, actually, we have the Brotherhoods in here, so if they try to go silly, we can just Brotherhoods in their board. Actually, no. We're first going to do Brotherhoods in now. This is a hard one because with Selesneya Enchantments, they get their board presence big pretty quick. So it's kind of hard to determine when it's a good idea to, you know, hold it and close it, so to speak. Still, we are going to show a good example of the Dreams of Steam and Foil here. So we're going to choose Jukai Naturalist, and we're going to choose Common Transients. And... wow. Now that is a very short game to win. That does show the power of using the Dreams of Steel and Oil. Wow. Good game. Okay, let's see who's next. We're going against a Shady Zebra. Well, let's see what shady shenanigans they have, Shady Zebra. Other than that, pretty good hand. We have the Evangel Symphysis. We could maybe go draw into another mountain for Brotherhood's in if we need to. I like this hand. Let's keep it. Okay, this might be Azorius Control. This might be a hard matchup, potentially. Well, with this matchup, we kind of have to fish out the counter magic if we can. Okay, our opponent goes for an Impulse, which makes sense. Oh! I was wondering when this was going to see play. Arcane Proxy, for its prototype, essentially, to be able to recast Impulse from their graveyard. Not bad! Not bad! Okay, here we don't draw into any lands, so I do think we have to do the Evangel Symphysis here to try to draw into a land. That's perfect. What do I want to toss? Probably another Evangel here to play the land. Cool to actually see this card see in play. There's the Urza, so... oh boy. I mean, technically speaking, we might want to hold up the Make Disappear mana, because this could be a... they have the Might and the Meek Stone, so we probably don't want them to cast the Might and the Meek Stone. So yeah, I'm probably going to hold up the Make Disappear here. Either they don't have it, or they just don't want to show it off yet. Okay. I'm gonna end the turn, make our opponent think we have a greedy hand by tossing a Goldie it gets here. Celestis, okay. Grixis and see if it gets countered here. Here, probably the Brotherhood's in. And we can swing in, see if our opponent wants to double block. We can take out the Arcane Prophecy using this effect. Unless our opponent has a combat trick. Do not. The good news is we still have the one Evangel Synthesis in theory to if our opponent decides to cast. Opportunity to draw a card. We can literally reenact the Brothers' War. Brother versus brother. But it's not the realistic play for this turn. Honestly, the answer is probably no. I think here we just need to fish out some counter magic from our opponent with the Fable. There we go. Our draw has to be really bad if we want to draw. If we want to play Gits as a card. Well, okay. Looks like they're going to. How many spells do they have left? Okay. They decide not to go for removal. They decide to go for trying to draw. Urza. They don't have enough to flip Urza. We will take the 4. And again, we're going to do this because kind of forced to at this moment. Ah, what? Seriously, another land? That feels bad. That feels really bad. Oh boy.
Designs are in need of
So
testing.
they're probably gonna exile gets. First, I'm gonna do some card draw.
Everything falls into place.
Meh. Did they exile the gets? Really, our best draw here would be Arona's Vortex to essentially put the put Urza into the quote-unquote library. There's the exile, as
I have
suspected.
no use for you.
We are probably dead.
At any cost.
I wonder if our opponent realizes... Okay.
The next experiment begins.
They're at 2 cards. Opponent? Wow! Okay. Our opponent just got greedy. Oh dear. I can't believe it. Our opponent just... We pretty much was able to control the game until our opponent used Urza to draw their deck out. This is definitely going to be one of those games where I have to debate whether or not if I want to put it on video, but if we do, Crow, we're going to be doing some cutting and such, and just pretty much doing some realms of, after a few control turns later, you know, some shtick like that until we get to this point, but still, what a crazy match. In the end, the brothers' greed is what let them fall. Very poetic, actually. And that is Phyrexian Grixis, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed the gameplay videos. As for any potential upgrades to the deck, I mean, if you're playing Grixis, there is the argument of until it ever gets its inevitable banned. Invoke Despair, still a strong card if you want to go heavy in on the black, kind of like splashing with the Grixis that we see in some popular Grixis lists. Invoke Despair is a pretty good card. You can probably cut, like, potentially a Jin Catatius. Well, actually, you might still want to keep Jin Catatius in here to double Invoke Despair, which, actually, coming to think of it, that would be really, really gross. That would be nasty. But yeah, there's Invoke Despair. Other cards that are both in the, if we want to keep with the Phyrexian theme, that would be good for the list. There's stuff like you can potentially do Defiler Dreams, which is actually really synergistic in this deck design. Being able to make our advantage with Synthesis to essentially get a card draw once we cast it is very nice, not going to lie. We could also throw in stuff like essentially Evolved Sweeper if we want to go with more early game drops and such. This one can just scale, as well as another card we could reanimate with Gitsian Puppeteer potentially. Gurgling Anointer I was also considering for this list, not gonna lie. Just a good spell that if we ever draw a second card, it gets bigger, and when it dies, we can reanimate a card with mana value less than or equal to its power. So if we were going to plan with, like, Evolved Sleeper, I would probably throw in Gurgling Anointer in here just to do that. So that's definitely an approach. You could also, if you want to keep on going on to, like, having turn 2 this and then turn 3 have a card draw spell, essentially, there is actually an argument for Phyrexian Rager, believe it or not. And yes, this is technically legal and standard because of Dominaria United. So you can actually, like, turn 2 this, turn 3 play Phyrexian Rager, draw a card, and then actually attack in with a turn 3 kind of like Menacing creature. So there is definitely some like, aggro-based deck designs where you can actually do that. And then there's also Scrapwork Rager, which does the same effect, but it's also an artifact creature as well, which then synergizes with Jimmy Tatsius, so that's something to consider. There is an argument for Defiler of Flesh, but I'm like, I really have to test it. It really was hard because our 4-drop slots were really competitive at the moment, so that was kind of hard. Other than that, Urbrask is a consideration, but honestly, it was a really hard consideration because the factor is with this deck design, we really want to draw the cards, and the card draw effect is an exiled card draw effect with the additional card draw, so it was just kind of eh. And that is... Oh, and also Urtai Resurrected is also good for Phyrexian to have because it's just good counter draw and all that stuff. So, that is the first Phyrexian deck tech of this quote-unquote season. At least until I meet my quota with Elesh Norn with these deck techs until the upcoming set. So, nevertheless, I think for this next deck tech, we're going to be playing with Urbrask and some Defiler of Instinct shenanigans. How? Well, we'll see that a little bit later. Nevertheless, hope you all have a good and completed day. See y'all later. Bada beep, bada boop. Well, that tech was a lot easier than I thought. You know, all things considered, I'm kind of surprised Elesh Norn did something kind of jerkish or something regarding to the realm of... What's that noise? I'm okay.